out here practicing welding. Hey, what's going on? Welcome to my shop, which has no walls or roof or anything on it yet, but I think it's about 40 degrees out here. And I'm out here with my drill press from Harbor Freight that we got back in the 90s. See there? They haven't really changed much. I think they got a light on them now or something. But I'm making bushings for that Chinese mini excavator, building that implement. And I had to build a jig, something to hold my bushings with. And you got to do some adjustments here. I got to get it a 1-inch hole drill. And I've taken this piece of 3/8 inch metal and drilled a hole through the middle of it, roughly. And then I'm using this step bit here. And I just kind of put that in there, in my jig, whatever you want to call it. I call it 3 pieces of wood with 2 T25 screws. That's a little bit technical. And I'm using this step bit here that I got at Harbor Freight. This step bit is rated for 10 gauge steel, which this 3/8 inch piece of metal is a lot thicker, but it gets through it and it gives me the 1 inch I need. I like these bits here, but they do not sell them at Harbor Freight in a 1 inch. Wish they did. That'd be pretty cool, because this bit right here scarfs that metal up. It's a good bit, but I haven't found one in 1 inch yet. So I'm going to put this in here and we'll see how long it takes to drill out. I've got to flip it and I'll kind of show you when I'm done here, but I'm looking for 1 inch. And 1 inch is almost all the way to the top. I almost got to bury this bit completely. So I'll adjust my drill press up as far as I can go. Even with this bit right here, if you watch the process, because if you this thing moves at 650 RPMs, so you'll burn your bits up. You'll burn one of these up pretty quick. I've done it. So I just drill a little bit, hit it with a little bit of oil. Matter of fact, I'll hit it with a little bit of oil right now. You can tell it's warm enough for the moths to be out here. They keep hitting me in the face. Some of them fly up some of them get up here in my damn shirt, tickle the hell out of me. Anyway, let's see how long this takes. Normally I take it down 1 step, shoot a little bit of oil in there, just a little bit. So I've taken it down another step. Cool thing about these bits is they don't really get as hot as a regular. As it gets bigger, the drill press will jam up on me if I go too fast. See right there, it kind of got hot on me, or spun out. So I put some pressure on it. Puts a little bind in the motor and you're slowing down those RPMs. So I'm trying to put just enough pressure on it to slow it down to about 300 RPMs. However, I'm not a computer, I'm just guessing. But I'm looking at my chips, how my chips come off that drill. I can kind of tell if it's cutting right or not. If they're too big, I'm pressing too hard. They need to be coming off. They're kind of curly cute. Hard to explain that shit, just experience. My jig is starting to slip on me. We'll see where we're at here. I left my damn gloves in the house. One thing about living out in the middle of nowhere, you can make some noise in the middle of the night and no one says anything. Except for that, whatever the hell's trampling around in the woods over there. I think it's just some rabbits. So, see how I'm widening out that hole there? Try to get this jig. I should have put an extra screw in there, but I didn't. This thing right here can get kind of hot, so I'm gonna try to put that in a little bit deeper. Where the hell is my hammer? Here it is. So I'm making these bushings so that the pins on my excavator will set in right. Because I made another one of those log splitter, or I'm making an implement, a log splitter implement for the Chinese mini excavator. Basically, I'm taking a Harbor Freight trailer log splitter, and I'm taking off the cylinder, taking off the I-beam, flipping it upside down, and I'm going to run the hydraulics through the excavator to run the log splitter so that I can come down over the top of a log, squeeze it a little bit, pick it up, bring it over the top of the trailer, split the wood into the trailer. But the main reason why I'm doing it is so that you get one of those 150-pound logs, you know, that's too big to manhandle and set up on the log splitter. I should, in theory, be able to come down with the excavator right over the top of the log on the ground and split that sucker right on the ground. That's the idea. Moths are crazy. Okay, I'm about as far down as I can go. Now I've got to raise this thing up a little bit. Before I do that, get rid of all this metal. You can see that's getting larger, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole up here, and I'm going to put a grease cert in these bushings. doing the best I can without a lathe, you know. I was thinking about getting that Harbor Freight lathe they got up there. You can do some pretty cool stuff with a lathe, but I don't know if it'll do, it says it does only small parts, but I don't know if it'll do stuff. It might do stuff this big. I don't know. It'd be cool if I had one. And I've seen some other people that's got them, but I haven't seen too many like tool ideas that are being used. Damn, that's hot. Might want to go get those gloves. Get better adjustment here. You can see, I mean, it's 11 minutes now. I think I started this about 2 minutes in, so it takes a little bit to drill a hole whenever, but if you do it slowly, you won't burn your bits up. A little bit more. And I'm just using like 10W40 motor oil. Come on, Moth, don't land on there. Okay, got my caliper here. It's a step bit, so it's going to step down into that 1 inch mark that I'm looking for. And then I have to flip it, make sure it's all the way through. Let's see where we're at now. That sucker's going to be hot. Let's see. I might do the other one when the sun comes up because I'm getting tired. But I hadn't put one on video yet. So I'm at 0.86 there. 0.98. Okay, so that's at 1 inch. So now all I got to do is flip this thing around and go in. Let me go grab my gloves because this sucker's hot. Well, what the hell? There it is. All right. I've been doing these YouTube videos here got serious about it a little bit ago. I don't know why. Something to do. And some people actually enjoy watching stuff like this. So that's why I do it. And that's probably why other people that do this type of stuff the YouTube thing anyway. It's probably why. You gotta have people that are making stuff to watch, and then you gotta have people that are willing to watch it. You know what I mean? So if you're watching, thanks. So I'm just moving this up just a little bit. Maybe we'll get down into the cool thing about it is the step bit just pretty much aligns itself. It aligns itself pretty good with what you're doing. As soon as I start to see some smoke, I kind of let off of it. A little bit of oil on there. Go back down into it. see what we got here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I can drill this thing right here, and I could put that grease zerk in there. But if you look up in there, you can kind of see like a ring, and I should be right at an inch, pretty close to it, but I don't know if you can see it or not, but I might have to knock off just that little ring in there. And the only way I'm going to know that is if I go grab the pin. So keep an eye on the drill press. I'll be right back. All right, here's my pin. Excavator pin for a 1-ton Chinese mini excavator. And we'll see if we got this down. I think, see, the step bit allows you to get really close. And it's not quite there yet, but it's really tight. So I need to take out, I don't know if you can see this or not. There's one little ring. See that ring right in the middle? I've got to take that step bit, and on one side or the other, I got to determine which side is closer. It looks like either side really, but I've got to knock that little ring out right in the center, and that'll give me exactly 1 inch. I use the caliper here. For not having a lathe, this method seems to work pretty good for me. 0.97, I'm 300ths of an inch off. 300ths of an inch off to get this thing to slide through there. All right, so I don't have that much further to go. Let me see which way I need to drill here. It's really hard to determine which side I think it's going to be best to probably go on this side still. No, this side's flat. I'll go on this side. Get me enough to pop that sucker on in there. We're almost there. I should be there now. I might give it a little bit of clean. Yeah, I might bust it on the other side too. I think I'm going to bust it a little bit more on the other side. Ideally, I'd like to get a full inch all the way through, but this is the only setup I got right now. Don't have a 1 inch bit. I think a 1 inch bit is like $40 or something like that. Fucking expensive. So I use this $14 step bit to get the same result. When it gets close, it wants to jam up a little bit. So just make sure you turn it off and reset it. All right, I think we're there, people. I think we're there. Oh, man. Yeah. You see that ring in the middle now? That should be a perfect 1 inch in the middle. I'll be able to determine that by throwing that through. Yeah, there's a little bit of play there, more play than I'd like. But let me show you. I got one more of these to build, but I think I'm going to shut the lights off and I'm going to go to bed. But let me show you this before I do that. So you remember the log splitter idea, or any implement that I build for a Chinese mini excavator. I got to build this piece in order to make it work. And it'll work with a quick connect adapter too, if you have that. But for this right here, I'm just using the old method with the pins. All right. I might build a quick connect adapter. There's a little bit more involved in that. But I might build it after I get my building built here. Like, see these poles out here? I mean, I'm sitting outside right now, but once I get this enclosed, I'll do more stuff. It's freaking cold out here, so get the building done, put a heating source in there, air conditioning for the summer, and I'll do more. Let me show you this setup that I got here. Hey, what's going on? Mother Nature has turned the lights on for me. It's 12 hours later. But the last thing I said was let me show you this setup. So here it is down here on the ground. This is made out of 1/4 inch metal. All right, and you check out those spiffy welds right there. I had to weld in spurts. You can almost see where I started and stopped about 10-15 times, because I found out that with my flux core that I'm welding on this particular outlet, I can only weld for about 5 seconds and then my breaker pops. So if I weld 5 seconds, stop, weld 5 seconds, stop. I'm hoping I got the penetration that I needed in there. And, you know, you can definitely tell by the rainbow pattern that I heated it up pretty good. So I'm going to disconnect the motor. I'm going to disconnect the pump. And all I'm going to use is this section right here. All right, I'm going to take off this valve because I've got an auxiliary valve on the excavator. Then I'm going to flip this upside down, and I'm basically going to mount it underneath over here where this plate's at. But let's put it right here just so you guys can get an idea. I'm going to hook that there. Everything on the bottom is going to be gone. The excavator will hook onto that. And with it being upside down, I'll be able to take that log splitter with my excavator, come right down over the top of the log, split that bitch right on the ground. All right, and this piece is kind of what you need for any implement that you're going to build for a Chinese excavator. I've seen these pieces for, you know, just the ears, the side pieces there, for $100, $600. If I was to sell these, I would probably need the same price. There's a lot that's involved in this, but if I was to actually sell this stuff, I would definitely need, well, heck, it's over here. The grading bar that I made just the other day is over here. And I've got a video on kind of how I made it. If you got a lot more time and a better shop than I got, you can do much better. But this is made out of 3/4 inch, or no, 3/8 inch plate. 3 pieces, and I just welded them up, and this was my first attempt. So these are actually 1 inch washers that cost $2 a piece, and I welded those on for my idea of a bushing, which is really shitty. I mean, don't do that, but for concept and me practicing, that's what I did. So this is 3/8 inch plate. It weighs, these 3 pieces and all the welds and washers and everything weighs about 10 pounds. This is 1/4 inch plate, which I think is going to be strong enough. I might do some reinforcement. I might put some reinforcement pieces on there. But this is about 4 pounds lighter than that 3/8 inch plate. And I'm actually going to trim it up. This is right. This is like 3.61 in between right here. and the inches are 3.5 inches apart. I used a step bit, and even with 1/4 inch plate, I had to step in just a little bit, but that inner ring right there is exactly 1 inch on each one of those. And the pieces that I'm drilling right now are for the bushings on the outside. All right, let me get to that. I'll edit out all my walking, at least the majority of it, except for that part, because I said it, and, you know, kind of want you to know about it. All right, so here we go. So these things that I was drilling out last night, they also have a 1 inch hole, but I had to, this is 3/8 inch plate, these little bushings. So you see I got a bushing right there. Now my idea is to go through here like this, and then I'm going to weld that bushing on the side. On this side, I'll take another one of these things that I drilled out and weld that on the side. But I still got a little bit of lip there, so I'm going to take a 1/4 inch bar and make another bushing on one side. So one side will have 3/8 inch bushing and a 1/4 inch welded together. That's the best I could do, people. All right, it's the best I could do with what I got. And then I'm going to take a drill. I'm going to drill a hole through the top of these bushings until it comes to the hole there. Tap it, and then put a grease fitting on it. So there's going to be 4 grease fittings on this. It's probably overkill, but you know, the more grease you got, the less problems you're going to have down the future. And every time I switch my pins out, I stuff those suckers in grease and throw them in the hole. I have a feeling it's still going to cause some friction. If I had a lathe where I could get in there and take a piece of pipe, a thick walled pipe, and lathe that sucker out, that would be the better option. That's going to be in the future. Anyway, that's what I got going on right now. Part 2 stuff's going to get really good, because I'm going to disassemble the log splitter and weld this up, and it should start coming together pretty quick. This piece right here took me a little bit of time because I'm not a fabricator. All right, I was a truck driver for 22 years. This is my hobby, and I do tree work now. And the idea is to make my job as a tree guy a little bit easier when it comes to loading up heavy logs. In other words, that 200-pound piece of firewood that's sitting on the ground, I'd like to split it up into 50-pound pieces so that I can load it on the vehicle a lot easier and get it off. And that's the reason why I'm doing this. All right, you guys have yourself a good one. I'll see you on part 2. It's coming, but I got to edit this one and get it out there first.